So basically a rundown on pleating construction.
Sure.
Try not to shag your dog this too much. But...
Me? Never.
You asked for it, Raymond. Here we go.
The short version. Sorry, I'm channeling my inner Spaceballs.
The short version.
There are a few different types of pleats that you can make for a kilt. The most common by far is knife pleating. Knife pleating is when all the pleats basically go the same direction. For men's kilts, 99.9% of them, the pleats are going to go, as you're staring down at the floor, are going to go counterclockwise around the back of your body, wrapping this direction. For women's kilted skirts, they're typically knife pleated kilts, or kilted skirts. Theirs can go either direction, just depends on the manufacturer. For box pleating, box pleats mean that there's a knife edge on both sides of the pleat, so it's going to fold in to the left and into the right, and then basically fan out to the next pleat, and then it kind of makes a Z shape.
Like an hourglass, like a Black Widow hourglass.
Yeah, but it's like Z's. Think of Z, and then a backward Z facing it, and then another backward Z, and connect those back forth. That's, if you're looking down the edge of a box pleated kilt, that's how it's going to look. And the tops basically just barely touch, and the depths of the pleat underneath, inside, barely touch in the backside. There's something called a military box pleated kilt, which is kind of a mix between the two, where it's shallow, like 1 inch on one side, and then about 3 inches deep on the other side, so it kind of goes back onto itself. So those are the basic types of pleating. There's also Kingussie pleating, or Kingussie pleating, or reverse Kingussie pleating. If you know the brand Utilikilts, they use reverse Kingussie pleating, where all the pleats on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, wrap around to the center of the back, and then the pleats on this side are knife pleated and wrap around this direction to the back, where they meet in the center of the back. A Kingussie pleat actually has a large box pleat in the center of the back, and then they knife and actually go forward
around towards the front
right, on the kilt.
Okay.
Correct. So those are the basic styles of pleating. Not many kilt makers make kilts other than knife pleated kilts. The majority make just knife pleated kilts. Some people kind of specialize in box pleats or those things, or will do them, but generally they cost a bit more because they're a lot more time intensive. Mm-hmm. Pleating styles, meaning to the set or to the stripe, is basically just a matter of the pattern itself. If you take a look at the tartan that I'm wearing here, and you kind of squint at it, the white stripe kind of jumps out at you. That would be a good stripe to pleat to. And when I say pleat to that stripe, I mean every single pleat would have that white stripe down the center of every single pleat. If it's pleated to the set, then when you're pleating up the kilt, manually in the sewing machine, you're actually advancing one part of the pattern on every pleat. So when you actually stack them all up, it's going to look like the pattern itself. It's pleated to the set or pleated to the pattern. Whereas a kilt pleated to the stripe, you end up, the front of the kilt looks different than the back, where the back just has a bunch of vertical stripes and the front has the full pattern across it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was that reasonably succinct?
I think that was very good. You want to discuss the origins of pleating to the stripe briefly?
I will let you do it.
I'll probably get it wrong.
Basically, a lot of it, I believe, Mac backed me up on this, is military.
Originally.
Yeah. If you need to adjust the buckles on a kilt to make it smaller or a little bit bigger, it's easier to adjust on a kilt that's pleated to the stripe, because you don't have to worry about the center back being off, the center back pattern, the stripe that runs in line with your spine being a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. You can adjust it any amount, and you're going to have those vertical stripes on every single pleat.
Yeah. So you have a hand-me-down kilts or mass-produced kilts for a military context, so pleating to the stripe was the desirable way to go.
Yep.
For efficiency.
Yeah, and it's generally a little bit easier, in my opinion at least, Mac, I don't know if you find it the same way, a little bit easier to sew kilts to the stripe, because it's just, you're doing the exact same thing over and over and over.
But you don't have to think about what's going to be the center of the back and to go out from there, or to think of the pattern. You're just
Yep. As long as
Already
the
got the
stripe
line
is
and you're going.
dead center on the pleat, you just keep going.